All right, so this is chapter 1, and it's going to go over and basically an overview of anatomy and physiology and the first section of the chapter. So we're going to talk about what is anatomy, what is physiology, levels of structural organization, maintaining life, and homeostasis. So first off, we have to define anatomy and physiology. And if you don't know this, it's going to be a pretty long year. So anatomy refers to the study of shape or structure. And it comes from the Greek word. If we break those apart, it actually has two Greek words. We have ana, which is apart, and tomi, which is to cut, because you can physically cut anatomy apart and look at it and examine it. And that's what happened thousands and thousands of years ago. We have two different subdivisions of anatomy. We have gross anatomy, which is not ill anatomy. It is anatomical structures that you can see with the naked eye. And then we have microscopic anatomy, which I'm sure, as you guessed, you have to look at with a microscope. So anatomy refers to structure or shape. Physiology refers to how those structures or shapes function. Okay, and that's made out of two Greek words also. Physio, nature, ology, which is the study of, which I'm sure you've heard of in terms of like biology, anthropology, things like that. And there are different divisions of physiology. So neurophysiology would be physiology of the nervous system. Cardiophysiology would be the physiology or how the cardiovascular system works. Gastrointestinal physiology would be how the stomach and intestines work. So physiology is how those structures work or what they do, what their function is. And there's actually a relationship between the two. And that relationship is a structure's anatomy is going to determine its physiology. So if we look at this slide right here, all right, so if we look at this little picture, okay, we have a human arm and a lizard arm and a cat arm, a whale fin, bat wing, frog limb, and a bird wing. So very different anatomical structures for the front limb or forelimb of an animal or whale or bird or what have you. And these different structures are going to determine their different functions. And so specifically, they have highlighted here where, so this would be our humerus and what the humerus looks like in these other structures. So we don't do what a whale does. We don't do what a bird does. Well, our anatomy is different. And because our anatomy is different, our physiology is going to be different because form determines function. All right, so basically everything in matter is going to be comprised of less complex things and more complex things. All right, and so matter is going to go from the most simple level of structural organization, which is called chemical, and it's going to come all the way down to the most complicated type of matter, which is an organism. So in chemical, we're looking at atoms. We're looking at molecules put together, okay? The smallest functional unit of matter would be an atom. As we move up to a cell is the smallest functional unit of life. We move up to tissues. Tissues are two or more cell types put together that work for a common function. So that could be stomach cells or liver cells or intestinal cells or skin cells, okay? An organ is two or more tissue types that work together for a common function. So I'm going to give you the example of the heart. The heart has 3 layers to it, and those layers are made up of different types of tissue. We have endothelial tissue, which is on the inside. We have muscle tissue in the middle, and then we have what's called connective tissue on the outside. So 3 different types of tissues working together for the function of the heart, which is to pump blood. When we get multiple organs together, we have an organ system. So let's keep going with the heart. So with the heart, we have the cardiovascular system. You have the heart, you have blood vessels, you have the lungs, arteries, veins, capillaries. So those are all different organs that are working together as an organ system. So different organs working together for a common function. And then once we have all the different organ systems working together, that gives rise to an organism. So organism would be the whole thing. What's interesting about a cell is that a cell has those little teeny tiny organs called organelles that are going to be doing all the things that us as a multicellular structure, we have tissues and organ systems that are all doing different things to make us an organism. But a cell has all the different diverse pieces and little tiny organs called organelles, which we're going to talk at in great length in chapter 3. So a big focus of anatomy and physiology is going to be going over the 11 major organ systems found in the human body. All right. I break them up into 12, but we're going to go through, and this book is actually great because it starts at the most simple level of structural organization. So chapter 2 is actually all chemistry, and then we're going to move up and go to cells. And then we're going to go to organ systems, which we're going to be talking about individual organs there. So I really like how your book is set up. So the 11 major organ systems. So we're just going to go through very, very quickly here.